In this video, I'll be walking you through the modular structure that is in use here at Ravenscroft. So the way we lay out our courses at Ravenscroft is by creating modules under modules in Canvas. So I'm going to first take you through our template and how you should be laying out your modules, and then I'm going to show you a module that one of our teachers created that is organized very well. So this EdTech resources for middle school and upper school teachers, this has been shared with you all, and you can find this in your Canvas instance on your dashboard. And if you go under modules here, you'll see that I have provided some information. And this is where you can find our Ravenscroft template. So I'm going to click on that. In a previous video, I already talked you through what your course landing page should look like. From there, you're going to create a unit overview for each one of the courses you teach. It's important to understand that here at Ravenscroft, a module is not equivalent to a unit. So how do you break down a unit into modules? The cadence that we use here is think of your modules as culminating in assessments. So if you have a unit with 3 assessments, they can be formative or summative assessments, then there would be 3 culminating assessments that would require you to make 3 modules within that unit. So at the beginning of the unit, before you get into your modules, or at the beginning of the first unit, module for your unit, you'll want to provide some information. And this is going to get us closer and closer to moving away from curriculum maps because all this information is going to be in Canvas. So have a title and concise overview of your unit. Provide some essential questions. Here's a link if you're not sure how to write an essential question. But basically, letting students, then get into your learning objectives, which are brief statements, which basically let students know what you want them to be able to do or to know by the end of this module or unit. And then your lead from here connections. There's a link here if you need to look at the list of those. Assessment overview, you want to let students know at the beginning of the unit how they're going to be assessed or receive grades in the unit. And a list of materials and resources. I'm going to click over before I get into the module template itself and show you what this would look like within a class. Okay, here we have Melanie Spransky's class, and you can see this is her world history class. If I go over to modules, and I scroll down to Unit 1, and before she jumps into the learning objectives for this particular module, she's given an overview of the entire unit. So let me click on that and show you what she's got here. She's got just what we went through, a clear title. She has her essential questions, her learning objectives for the unit. She's saying what students will be able to do and know by the end of this unit. She gets into her lead from here connection, and then she gives an assessment overview. Okay, so if we were to click next here, think of next as you want to have what would chronologically your students would look at next. All right, so now we're getting to just module 1 of this unit. So she's broken down this unit into a few modules based on how many assessments she's giving. And you can see the learning objectives for this module clearly outlined. Now, if I'm going to click next again, I'm starting the module. Okay. So before I get into what the rest of her module looks like, I'd like to go back to the template. So here you can see what each module should have within it. So learning objectives, I just showed you, those were her learning objectives. She had them clearly outlined for the module. Some examples of how to write those are on here. And then you're going to get into discovery or content delivery. So we call it discovery. You can just put discovery and have it highlighted in green on your page. We're color coding it so students know what they need to do and what they need to know. Green should be an indicator that, oh, this is something I just need to know. I don't need to turn anything in. Some examples of discovery that you may include in a module, or you may just say, hey, today we're going to have an in-class lecture, and you're just putting that on your page. You may have on Canvas, give them the slideshow, embed the slideshow that you're going to go through in class, just so that they have it if they want to look at it later or if they're going to be absent. You can pre-record a lecture, a screencast that you have them watch, and then you're going to do something more hands-on in class. Link to an article or a video. Maybe there's a problem that they're going to need to solve, big or large. You may want to link the vocabulary list in Quizlet. You may do an interactive whiteboard or an interactive presentation or even an interactive video. If you need any help learning how to do any of those, just reach out. So you're going to have discovery within your unit, obviously, but you're also going to have some engagement, which is where they practice formative assessments. And here I've got some examples of that. You can have discussion boards, virtual bulletin boards, problem sets, learning games, partner work, polling sites, formative assessment through Pear Deck, Padlet, Google Quizzes, Canvas quizzes. So lots of options here. Now, you may be thinking, well, I don't give all of the content delivery and then all of the engagement. And that's fine. In one module, you would go back and forth between discovery and some engagement, some discovery and then some engagement. And you may have those on one page. You may have them separated. I actually separated them out in my instance, in my class. But let me go back to Melanie's and show you what this looks like in practice. So here, she's actually starting her module with engagement, which is just an introduction. So she's got it clearly outlined that she's doing engagement. The student would look at this and be like, oh, it's highlighted in gold. I know this is something I need to turn in. And that's really important for the students to know that, oh, I need to turn something in. You can see she had a discussion. Now, the student should always be able, I'm sorry I'm going so fast, but click next at the bottom and go chronologically to the next thing that would happen in the course. She actually has some more engagement, which is a map reflection activity. I'm like, okay, that's great. Turning something in again. Let's go to the next. Now it's in green. The student immediately knows that this is something that is not graded. This is something that they're doing to help them learn more. There's not something that needs to be turned in necessarily. And she actually used a Kami, embedded that right here, which we'll get to in another video. If I click next again, I've got engagement. That means here's another embedded Kami document. The student needs to do something and turn it in. So they would have to submit here. So I'm just kind of showing you that within a module, you can go back and forth between engagement and discovery. Just please include those banners, the green and the gold, so that students are more likely to know whether they need to turn it in or whether it's just a section of your module where they're learning something new. I can show you in the course that I teach as well what this would look like. I could click anywhere in my module and you can see that, well, this has a funny thing there, but it says discovery. So a student knows here they're just learning something. Okay, they're actually watching a few TED Talks, answering a few, turning and talking in the class. They're not turning anything into me though. If I click next, this is what would happen the next day or what they need to do for homework after they've watched those TED Talks. You can see I have a banner that says engagement here, and the students will know immediately that's something that they need to turn into me. Okay, I've given some examples, but they still need to turn something into me. Click next again. The next happens to be an assignment where they need to turn in something as well. So I just want to show you two examples of what that looks like. Let's go back over to our template. So your module is going to have a lot of discovery and a lot of engagement. At some point, you're going to get to the application, the analysis, the assessment. And you may have a large assessment if it's your last module in a unit. It may be a smaller one if it's in the middle. But really think of using Bloom's taxonomy so that students are having to use higher level thinking in your assessments. And there's a lot of information here you can read through on how to make that happen. Every module should end in reflection. So you will see that that would be highlighted in gold as well because it's something a student needs to turn in. I like to do reflections that have students complete a 3-2-1. I'll take you back over to my course to show you what that would look like. So if I go back to modules and I go to the end of here, you can see I have a reflection. So if I clicked on reflection here, I have a 3-2-1. So looking back at this first module, name, 3 things you realized about yourself, 2 things you're curious to learn about in the online course you will take, and 1 activity you found interesting and one you didn't enjoy so much. Not only am I getting some feedback on what went well in the module, but I'm also getting a pulse on what they are excited about that's coming up and what they learned. So really important to end each module in some reflection. Okay, so that's basically how the template works. Please note that the color coding is really important. It helps our students navigate their courses more easily. And if we're all using this structure, navigating courses will be much easier for students. Now, you may be thinking, but I want to have more autonomy over my class. Your homepage is set. The module structure is set, but what you do within your modules, you have room for a lot of creativity as far as that's concerned. But we do ask that you use the green and the gold. This is to help our students better navigate. And you can find this template, as I mentioned before, in the EdTech resources page that has been shared with all middle and upper school and fifth grade teachers.